Hi guys, in this next video I want to start creating the lightsaber itself. And I want to just start off in a fresh scene just to keep things clean. We'll make a prefab and then we'll bring in the sword or the saber into this scene. So I'll call this scene test scene. Be a good place to construct stuff with nothing else in the way. I'm going to create a sword starting with a capsule, which I'll put at 0, 0, 0. And a capsule can actually become kind of pointy if you make it really thin, so like so. Let's give it a material. I'll call it saber. And I'm not sure what's going to be the parent and child of what here, but let's just call this thing saber. That'd be fun. It's got its own material. We can have a little bit of fun with it. We can make it like some shade of blue. But we can also give it the ability to kind of emit some bright light. So I'm going to give this guy some emission. To make him a little bit brighter, I move my camera a bit closer so we can see that nicely. Let me move my camera down. There you go, a little lightsaber core. On that, I'm going to create a child, which I'm going to call the hilt. And that's going to be a block. It's going to have to be the right size. I don't know. Let's just see if we can't get some decent values here for our hilt. That could be okay. We'll say 5, 0.34. Bring the hilt down to about there. This hilt is important because I'm going to have like information for the user to read on it. In VR, we can't really have a heads-up display. At least it's discouraged. Instead, we put stuff like scores and life in game right on game objects. So that's why I have this big hilt to put text on. I need a material for the hilt. Create material. I'll call this one hilt. And we'll make this kind of, I don't know, something like that. And then a cylinder underneath for the grip. Create 3D object cylinder. Make it not nearly as tall. Bring it down below. Let's move this whole camera just back a hair. Create another material. The handle. Let's call this thing handle. Let's tweak this to make it, I don't know, something kind of dark. Have fun with these colors, do whatever you like. I'll probably switch them up between now and the end. It's also probably fun to have a particle effect around your sword. I wonder if I want my handle, my hilt not to be the same color. It could be nice. That's all right. Still a little big, isn't it? Yeah, 4x4. And like I said, you'll probably want a particle effect emitting from something somewhere. I'm going to create it as a separate game object right here. I'm going to rotate it so that it shoots up, up. And I'm going to let you guys have fun with this and make it a good particle effect. But long story short, I'll do a couple things. Something like that. You guys have a lot of work to do on particle effects. Have a lot of fun with them. Let's see, the duration is whatever. The lifetime of these guys has to be like that. All right, have fun with that. I'm going to turn it off for now because I don't want to spend time on it here. Make cool looking stuff. Next up, how do we get text onto this hilt? That's really the hard part that I wanted to address in this video. The way we're going to do that is we're going to create as a child of the hilt a canvas. And this canvas, we'll call this one score. Score canvas, just to be clear, is going to be a canvas actually in world space. And the trick to this guy is right now he is huge compared to the hilt. He may be a child of the hilt, but he's so big that you can't even see the sword appear. We want to take this score canvas and we want to scale it very, very small, like 0.001. I will say this, my scene isn't really digging it. What's going on with this score canvas? Its position is way off. There it is. Now if I take a look at this guy, he's right there. He's a little bit bigger than my hilt. And I want to give him, just for a minute, an image so we can actually see him render. And let's make this image full size. There he is. And we probably want him on this side, so he's on the front of the sword. I want the whole canvas to be over there. There we go. Ideally, it really is just on top of this guy, like negative 0.51. That should be pretty good. You can see here we want to change the size. I want him, let's just say 500 by 500. That is the amount of pixels, but really we're going to control the size with scaling. So is my hilt square? It should be. It doesn't have to be. Let's make this width 600, and then let's just scale this up a little bit. All right, that looks okay. I'm going to make my image this little background thing. In fact, I'm going to remove this component altogether. And I'm going to keep my canvas. I'm going to add a panel. There we go. I'll make the panel a bit dark. And on there I can have text. So UI text. The text needs to be best fit from 0 to really big. It needs to be max size. There it is. Centered. And I think I want this to be white. So this is going to be like the person's score. And let's see, that shouldn't matter. We want to make sure it's big enough for that. That doesn't matter too much. Yeah, should be okay. So that's where we'll keep the person's score. And I'm going to rename that game object to score text. And then I want to duplicate it because I want the hilt on one side to keep score, on the other side to keep life. I'll call it health. Health canvas. The health canvas is rotated. It lives over on that side. Negative 0.51 seems to get it there. And I think I want our health to start at 20. Rename the game object. Put 20 there. Make the health red. As the user rotates the sword in his hand, he'll be able to see on one side the score, on the other side his health. Good. That's my saber. It's a prefab. And like I said, you'll want to have fun with the particle system. I'm going to make a prefab out of it. And I'm going to be able to drag that prefab into the main scene. It should be a child of the player. And it's going to be a little tricky to integrate this with the Vive later. But for now, there it is. Let's move it out of the ground. Maybe move it forward in front of the player. So our player's holding it directly in front of them. So that's good enough for this little demo. The next thing I want to do is wire this guy up so that he can destroy the enemy cubes and he can keep track of health and score. I'll do that in the next video.